evening, everyone. At this time, I'd like to call the Village of Midlothian Board meeting for March 23rd, 2016 to order. Roll call.
Trustee Gillis.
Here.
Trustee Ivan.
Here.
Trustee Killily. Trustee Kreis.
Here.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Moskal.
Here.
Mayor Rydak.
Here.
You have a forum.
Please stand for the pledge, and after the pledge, please remain standing for a moment of silence for our veterans. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to take the opportunity to swear in our newest police officer, Officer Paul Schouten. Scouten, sorry. Well, I'll learn it, I promise. Come on out. And if you have somebody here that, come all the way around, please. Somebody to pin this on you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm on there.
Hi, Paul. Nice to meet you. The clerk is going to be swearing you in.
You can sign that for me.
How are you? I'm seeing you. Thank you. That's the opportunity to have you join us.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Paul Schouten,
I, Paul Scouten,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the position of probationary police officer
to the position of probationary police officer
in the Village of Midlothian,
in the Village of Midlothian,
in the County of Cook,
in the County of Cook,
aforesaid do solemnly swear
aforesaid do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the ordinances of the Village of Midlothian,
and the ordinances of the Village of Midlothian,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the position
the duties of the position
of probationary police officer
of probationary police officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Mom, I worry sometimes about your Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
And anybody who just came for just the swearing in, here's the good part, you don't have to stay if you don't want to. At this time, I will open the floor to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, now would be your time to do so. Yes.
Rita Sarnes, Kildare Avenue. I was just wondering what the status is on all that money we gave that group in Indiana that was supposed to be for a water line or something. What happened with?
The Jawa is actually in a lawsuit right now, and the village is defending ourselves against it. It's basically fallen apart, and so we've actually, a long time ago, the board took a vote to get out of it, and they haven't been able to have a forum for them to release us. So it's been an ongoing fight. So nothing's really going on with it. We're not going that direction any further.
Okay.
Kathy Caveney. After about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had some questions to address to the board with regards to the budget, and Maggie asked me to send them to her and she would answer them. And then 10 days later, I got a note from Don that said that he was tasked with that, and I got some answers from him and from Carl and from Alan, but there are still quite a few questions that weren't answered. So I'm going to bring some of them up now. I have a whole lot, but I'm only going to bring up a few major ones. On page 4, under administrative expenses, under maintenance services, there are 2 line items for employer contributions. One is GL number, and I'm just going to give you the last 4. 6504, and the other one is 6505. In 2014, each one of those respectively was budgeted $391,000 and then $368,000. And my question was, there was zero in 2015 and zero in this budget for 2016. So I'm just wondering, what was that for? Why is there no budget amount? Has it been relocated somewhere else?
I'll have to run the GL and get back to you on
Okay, well,
that.
that's pretty disappointing because I was specifically told that somebody would answer all my questions, and this is being voted on today. And I think it's quite unfair that as a resident, I have these questions, and I've always tried to be very nice and respectful and decent to the mayor and to the board, and it's too bad that you guys are gonna try and vote on this, and, you know, it's a pretty big budget item there's a big hole here. So, and nobody has an explanation for it.
If I could, I just would, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that these are the employer contributions for Social Security and Medicare, which actually are supposed to be in Fund 11 and Fund 12, a different fund.
But if you look, that was also one of my questions on the budget, was under the Social Security section, that was also empty. That was blank.
For the
If I'm not
budget or
mistaken.
actual?
In the budget itself, I believe. There was either nothing listed there or it was minuscule. I apologize, the answers to my questions came in kind of not in so much order, so I don't have them in so much order. I don't remember what line item it was or what page it was on. But at any rate, employer contribution and Social Security, there was a big blank there. And I mean, it just jumps out at off the page at it. So, I'm sorry, Don, what was that?
I was trying to find out where you were.
Well, excuse me, Kathy, if you were to look on, and I'm sorry, I don't have page numbers on this one, but if you were to look under Fund 11 and Fund 12, you would see that there is money budgeted and actual money in both Social Security and Medicare. And if I'm not mistaken, and again, since I don't have the audit in front of me, if I'm not mistaken, the auditors might have, when they did the audit, given a journal entry to collapse this to the general fund for maybe reporting purposes or something like that. But it is budgeted in Fund 11 and Fund 12.
Okay, well, I'll have to look for that.
Okay.
One of my bigger issues is with regards to road and lodge. And on here, there's $12,000 for expenses, but there was nothing allocated for income. And Don told me that pursuant to the intergovernmental agreement, the Park District is supposed to pay the village $2,000 a year for their use of that facility. While I disagree that the $2,000 a year is sufficient, my bigger issue is the fact that the Park District hasn't been paying that, and it's not necessarily their fault, and this is where I'm gonna have to side with the Park District. They haven't paid that money for the past 3 years because the village has neglected to keep up its end of the bargain with maintenance and repairs on the building. So the Park District has been paying for those. If the village has an agreement with any other government entity, they need to stick to that agreement. I mean, and so there's a hole in the budget because it doesn't show any budgeted income, and it should. And if the village owes the Park District reimbursement for work that they did that they weren't supposed to do, that was the village's responsibility, the village needs to pay the Park District.
And any repairs that were going to be done at Radio Lodge was supposed to be brought to the board for discussion and approval. So
Well, that was the response that Don gave me, is that they haven't paid the $2,000 a year for the past 3 years because there were expenses that they incurred that were supposed to be paid by the village.
Kathy, they paid more than $23,000 in repairs to the building in the last 4 years, which is why they haven't made payments.
And has the village reimbursed them?
No, we just had a meeting about this last Thursday,
Mm-hmm,
and there's some other significant expenses that repairs that need to be made,
mm-hmm.
that by contract, I think they actually fall under the obligation of the Park District.
Okay.
But the village, I believe, is going to end up covering them. And then we need to revisit the agreement. There's a lot of issues with the lodge. We have no long-term plan for maintenance issues like a roof or painting the exterior, the interior, carpeting. When we entered into that agreement, I don't think anyone thought it would, continue maybe more than 1 to 2 years.
Mhm. And is the Park District expecting the village to do all those things?
The Park District is working with the village. We had a good meeting last Thursday to actually talk about the issues,
Okay.
and they provided a list of expenses of things that they did do.
Mhm.
And they admitted that some of these things the village should have done, but they needed to do due to, bookings at the lodge or things that weren't, it wasn't feasible from a time perspective to wait.
Right. So does the village still owe them reimbursement for some of those certain items?
We have, likely, yes,
Okay.
but once we fix the big issue we're facing right now, we'll sort that out.
Okay, well, my main issue is that the village needs to keep up its end of the deal as far as that agreement goes. The other issue is that $2,000 a year from the Park District is not sufficient if they are actually making a whole lot more money on that based on, party bookings and the use of the building. Okay. All right, on page 11, also just under Rate A Lodge, there were some expenses for landscaping. There was a budget line item, it was general account number 6901, $10,000 for miscellaneous. Don's reply to me was ask Carl.
What's the whole account number on there?
I only, to save looking, it's on page 11, and it's, the last 4 digits is 6901.
Well, we'd like to have the whole.
We don't
account
have
number. We don't.
page numbers.
We'd like to have the whole account
Can
number.
you give me the account number? We don't have the page number.
The very first column.
I'm looking, I've got it. Okay, it's the very last line item under village building. It's 05-620-6901, miscellaneous, $10,000.
It was most likely the landscape contract.
There's already something for the landscape contract somewhere else in here. That's 6361.
on my budget.
The budget we were given to review says $10,000.
Building, which would be this building.
Yes.
It's not Rite A Lodge, it would be this building.
I didn't say it was the Rate A Lodge. I said it was on the budget, it's under the Rate A. It's the next section under Rate A Lodge. I
Oh, okay,
apologize
I
for
see.
confusion.
Those $10,000.
For miscellaneous. But there's also, right about the middle of that column, 620-6496 improvements, $20,000. Didn't we just spend $88,000 around here a couple years ago? Just curious what the $20,000 is for. It's got 2014 actual was 54,000. Last year minuscule was 2,400. Budgeted this year is 20,000. And then it's got maintenance 25,000, landscaping 11,000. So that's why I'm curious why the miscellaneous is so high. That's a pretty high dollar amount for miscellaneous considering all the other details under village building.
I think we're trying to make an effort to cut down miscellaneous columns. Is that right?
They are
Make sure
trying
we
to.
describe them perfectly.
Right, they are trying to do that. That is one of the focuses of the budget, is to go ahead and try to cut that down. I have no idea, when this budget was created, or when the appropriations ordinance was created, I don't know what background went into that. If they anticipated some expenses that weren't going to be able to be put anywhere else.
Okay, well, another question. On page 5, let me see what the whole account number is. There's a dollar amount, $75,000 is budgeted for the environmental consultant. And Don said this is for the engineer who administers the brownfield grant. So my question is, if we have a specific grant that's for specific use and for, to be used for specific things, should that grant have its own budget section, in the budget so that you can see what the grant balance is and then what the expenses are? Because if anybody else looked at this, they would think that the village is paying an environmental consultant $75,000 and to do what? If it's part of a grant, that money's really not coming out of the village general fund, it's coming out of the grant funds.
Right, and there's probably, you're looking at the expense,
Yeah.
correct? Because I can't find it, well, not page numbers, but there's probably on the revenue side, it's showing, am I correct, Maggie? Because those expenses are 100% reimbursed.
I understand that, I know that they are, but I don't see anywhere on the roll-up page, there's nothing on here for the brownfield grant.
It goes in the
No, it's in-
grant reimbursement, I believe.
It is, it's in other revenues. If you look at grant reimbursement, it's in other revenues. And you're right, the village has one grant reimbursement, or they might even have a couple line items, and it certainly isn't spelled out, the general ledger. And I think that might have been one of the comments from the auditors, was that perhaps we could add some general ledger numbers on, so that we have a better definition of grants, for example. or
Because the grant shouldn't be considered revenue. We've had the grant money in the village now for a couple of years, so it really shouldn't be considered revenue every year, right? It's just money that's in a fund already.
No, it's not in a fund.
Where is it?
It's reimbursable expenses. That's how all of these work. They don't give us a pot of money.
Okay,
And I think there might even be a Weaver bill on here, but what happens is when we pay the bill, I go on and I enter it, and we have an ACH payment
Oh,
that
okay.
goes directly to.
then whoever's holding the money reimburses us.
And it's how
Okay.
they all work. I think
And
every
that's
branch-
fine, it's just not clear on this budget, that's all. It just looks like that $75,000 is coming out of general funds to pay for something. It doesn't specifically say that it's for the brownfield grant and that it's gonna be reimbursed. So that was part of my question. Okay. Let me just, I had one more. On page 12, this question had to do with the IMRF employee contributions. I asked, why was this amount so low? What percentage of the salary does each employee contribute? And I got no answer to that. The response was Ask Maggie. And that was on page,
Is that in the IMRF fund? Can you
I'm
give me
not
the
sure.
whole
I have to look
account
on
number?
page 12.
It's 11/640/6101.
No, 6404.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's 6404 is IMRF employee contribution, and 6101 is the IMRF, I'm sorry. 6404 is the IMRF employee contribution, and 6101 is the IMRF contribution.
Could you give me the whole account number, Kathy?
Yeah.
11-640-6101.
Yep, 11640.
11,640.
It's just above Social Security, the box for Social Security.
Do you think that's small?
So, okay, so 11,640,601, that is the village's
Contribution.
IMRF contribution, that's the village's portion.
Okay.
And how much is it? It varies every January, we get a new rate. So
Okay.
it crosses 2 fiscal years, but it's approximately 7-point-something%. And
Okay.
of course, not everybody's salary is IMRF-able. Police are not, fire are not, and some of the part-timers do
Okay.
not qualify for IMRF.
Okay. Right underneath there on that same page, there's the Social Security section. And it shows that the revenue is from property taxes, but it shows no employee contributions.
Okay,
Don't all employees have to pay Social Security?
not all employees.
Well, I'm sorry, except maybe for police and fire who pay into a municipal
And they
pension.
pay Medicare, not Social
Right,
Security.
okay.
And the employee contribution, now, the employee contribution, there's no employee contribution here. The employee contribution is part of their salary. So if you make $100 and that gets booked to the expense, and then the money comes out for taxes and everything else. I just downloaded this from Locus. I don't know why they put employee contribution there. Maybe they meant to say employer contribution, but I'm sorry, that's revenue, and that revenue is not shown here.
Then, in looking at this budget, I'm thinking that Social Security revenue is money that goes into the fund, whether it comes from property taxes or the employees. Like, in the private sector, the employer pays 7.5%, I pay 7.5%, then the employer sends the check to the government.
Right.
So I'm thinking this revenue fund keeps track of all that incoming social security money, and then the village cuts a check to the government.
Yeah, that's not how that happens. What happens is when the employee's portion comes out of their check, it gets booked to a liability account, which these are income statements, these are revenue expenditures, not
Mhm.
a balance sheet.
Well, then, is there a corresponding expense account on this budget that shows social security? Because now I'm even more confused as to why this is even listed here then.
Right
It
under
shouldn't
it.
be listed if it's not an account that we're using. Would that be right, Alan?
Well, I mean, I just downloaded this from Locus.
Right.
Right. I mean, and I don't know why, maybe it was used at one time, and now
Mhm.
they no longer use it, but that is not a use in this fund. This account number is not used in this fund.
Okay. I had asked some questions also that went to Alan, and he responded back that, and this had to do with the 911 contract. And Alan discovered that there was some, because of my question, he discovered that there was some kind of erroneous posting.
The wrong count and the same expense category, yes.
Okay.
Actually, Maggie found it.
Okay. I don't know how that changes the budget, or if it changes the
It
budget.
doesn't, the dollar amount is
Okay.
the same, it's just a right different line item.
Okay. Well, I have a lot more questions, but I'm sure I've used up my 3 minutes. So I just have to say I'm really disappointed that I was pretty clear and concise in all my questions. A lot of them were clarifiers. They weren't real deep in-depth questions, and to not have someone give me an answer, I think, is really unfortunate and not fair.
Would anybody else like to address the board?
I will. Helen, 147th Street. I wanted to address the mayor and the board concerning the EMA director, Daniel Ryback. He's decided to take his opinions to social media on many occasions. Today in particular, his post causes reasonable concern that he will not perform his emergency management duties during flooding situations. I request that the board review a copy of his post and that you address for the concern the public safety of our residents by removing Daniel Ryback from his EMA position. It is reasonable to believe that his opinions may impede his ability to assist the flood victims, which he refers to as, and I quote, Scumlothian, the special breed of human waste, end of quote. He also states that he thinks he has, quote, finally convinced Sharon not to run for mayor again, end of quote, because of these people, and because they sent a man to his parents' house to talk about flooding and demand flood photos while making intimidating remarks. It isn't appropriate for the EMA director to be advising our community in this manner. The fact is that Gert Ryback was very public in speaking about flooding and showing her flood photo collection in this room and to her neighbors for years. The fact is that one of her neighbors asked Gert to share those photos for the purpose of proving that a study and solution was needed in that area, and she held significant amount of evidence. The photo evidence was going to be submitted to the Army Corps of Engineers and Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. The repeated attempts to lie and discredit the successful efforts of the volunteer flood group are a testament to the lack of integrity of the small group of people surrounding the mayor here at Village Hall and at the park. It's not any secret who you are. In closing, I'd like to state that it's absurd to believe that a mayor would not run for office based on a resident action group's efforts that have achieved huge success totaling millions of dollars for this village. Reasons not to run for re-election would be the inability to follow policy, procedure, ordinance, and participation in regular attempts to mislead the community with inaccurate statements. Our resident action group has earned a great respect of many. We work hard, and the results are going to benefit the residents of our community for many years to come. Our actions speak for themselves, and we're leaving a legacy to be proud of. And I'll give you all a copy of what I'm talking about. Can you hand it, Gary? Thank you.
Do you concur with Mr. Ryback's sentiments that they're scum and they're a special breed of human waste?
I did not even see Darren's post this morning, I apologize.
And he's convinced you not to run because of this special breed of human waste, so you must have thought about it.
No, it's, we've talked about me running again, yes, and I told him without support from the community. I really don't feel it's in my best interest to try to continue to be mayor, and that, you know, when I'm done in next May, then I will just, you know, move on. And it didn't have to do with one group of people or one person or any one thing. It's just a culmination of all of it. And
Well, he was certainly specific.
I understand that.
And all the wet deficit people and all the ridiculous, you know, there's like a handful of people whose names I got in an envelope, because believe me, I've done my research and talked to an attorney as well. I'm not an idiot. IP addresses are traceable, and I chose my community and pursuing efforts with all of the agencies while not suing my village first. So I have to sit here and listen to this garbage, and that's what it is, it's lies. All these published lies are shameful, and not for us, because we keep rising above it all. So if you're gonna put something out there, it should be truth. And so the guy he's referring to in there, here's the guy.
I'm the person. How do I earn this? I'm the one who's been out there for 19 years, up to my knees in water, pouring rain, cleaning off the sewer caps. You know how I met Joe and Gert? She thought I worked for the village. She says, you and my husband are the only ones who I ever see cleaning these lids. So for all that, this is the accusations I get. I think I'm owed an apology.
And you were invited into their house.
I was invited by Gert into her house when I asked her for the photos. And I says, no. I says, I just came from work. I work in dirt. I work on equipment. I says, no. She goes, come on in. We talked. We've been on good terms for 19 years. I in no way, shape, or form intimidated her or Joe in any way. She said she didn't know where the photos are. She said, if I can find them, I'll ask Joe. She says, give me a few days. I did. I went back. I talked to Joe. He says, they can't find them. They probably got thrown out. She knew what they were for. We needed back information. She probably has the largest collection on Ridgeway of anybody. Army Corps of Engineers wanted an additional information. I thought it would help. End of story.
That's a far scream from him demanding old pictures and intimidating remarks. It's a far scream, and this is really disappointing that it's still your family and it's still your friends. It's really disappointing. If you're going to say something, it should be a fact.
Thank you for your comments. I will recommend that Dan Ryback be removed as the EMA director, and we can act on it at the next meeting. Are there any other comments?
Can I talk?
Yes.
Evidently, she wasn't there. He might have been there, but he wasn't on the other end of the conversation. My parents told me they did not expect him to be in a manner of harassment. They do not think that was his intent, but some of his statements were intimidating to them. My parents are in their 80s, and they felt, and they are on the other end interpreting what he said. Therefore, it was their interpretation of his word. Now, he's gone into my parents' house, and he was there twice, and that was their interpretation. He was there to intimidate and harass them when he left. Now, he may not have intended it, but his statements come across to my parents that way.
And he's a special
And I thought it.
Helen?
And she wasn't there. But my guess is this lady and this trustee back here knew exactly what they were doing when he went there. That it would come across as harassment and it would come back to me and my family. And it did. And you know what my family did? We sent my nephew to live with my parents because we felt that they needed extra help and security in their household because of this. Now, they were not there, but they all got comments. If his comments were not meant to be harassing or intimidating, then maybe you need to watch how you discussed it with them. My family as a whole is insulted by this. And as far as me as the EMA director, when they assigned it to me, I made it clear I could only do it part-time and that it would be very difficult with my schedule to do it at all. I have no problem being removed, and my understanding is they were looking for somebody to take the job. So as soon as you can get that person, please take them. But as far as somebody entering a household, my parents' household, and talking to my parents in a way that they make them feel intimidated, yes, folks, you earn the name. If that's the way you want to go, and that's the way you want to do things, harass and intimidate 80-year-olds. Have fun.
Real scary.
Are there any other comments from the public?
I don't believe this is how we want to treat our residents. I can't even believe this is just disgusting. I mean, they deserve an apology, for God's sake. I mean, you call them the scum loafing, you call them the special breed of human waste. I mean, we're not supposed to be treating our residents this way. I mean, I can't.
But you directed at me?
Somebody.
Okay, well then, how many people in this room have parents in their elder years that they would be a little insulted that somebody came to them and that this is the message to parents? I can only tell you what my parents told me. They did not feel this man was there to intimidate life, but his comments came out as intimidating and harassing.
The only thing I'm trying to do is help the flooding.
And you don't get to use your political office to intimidate us into seeing and interpreting things your way. I took great offense by it too, especially you suggesting that this, Midlothian, is the reason for Ryback to resign. How about the $88,000 that you and the rest of that group refused to talk about? And it would be the idea...
Well, again, it was directed to me.
All right, we are done. We are done. This is not a debate. It's open for public comment.
Then that was my comment. He's a public official
I
who
understand that.
uses his position as a public official rather than going to the police. Meaning if he believes it, and I'm not doubting that he believes what he just said, but he should have gone to the police rather than on Facebook and sitting there and writing what he wrote on the same evening that you have an award sitting up there in that board, little U-shaped whatever. You have disgraced that seat, and he has joined you in that disgracing, and he has no confidence, and he should quit tonight then if he meant it about not caring about leaving. Nobody trusts him. He did it himself. You appointed him. You begged the board to agree. That's on you. That's why you're not going to be running. You've been a really terrible mayor.
Thank you. Yes.
I just wanted to say that I'm 80 years old. And if somebody came to my house and I felt like they were intimidating me, we have a police force here that I would have no qualms about calling them. So I think if his parents felt intimidated, they should have had the same option to call the police.
Thank you. With no further comments from the public, I will close the floor to public comment. Trustees, I will be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda. This evening's consent agenda includes the bill list and the department reports from the building department, fire department, police department, and public works department.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killaway. Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We'll move on to trustee business. Trustee Price?
Under my business, my intent was to have the approval of the complete streets policy as my first agenda item, so with the board's indulgence, I would like to move that to the first item. And I just want to make a couple comments. I want to thank everybody who was involved in the process drafting the complete streets policy. I believe we are probably the first community that has a stormwater component as part of our complete streets policy, which I am very, very proud of, and I think everybody on the committee is very proud, and a number of you. If you're on the complete streets committee, raise your hand. Joe, Jeff, Helen, Steve Hotwagner. It took a lot of people to get this policy adopted, and it's going to really guide how we how we proceed with our streets in the future, and everything will have a stormwater component. And it occurred to me today that I probably should have done something a little more formal. So we're going to adopt the policy tonight, but I'm going to ask that we do it by resolution at our next board meeting. And Leslie just gave me a sample of that very late today. But I also want to thank the Active Transportation Alliance and especially Leslie Feimster, who's been a true friend of Midlothian through our previous grant opportunities. So we have a complete streets policy that I would like to make a motion to adopt Midlothian's complete streets policy.
I like saying.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Killaway. Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Masko.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We continue to make history. Leslie, you can leave if you don't want to.
I'm going to go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Leslie. And again, you're going to be around for implementation.
Yes, 2 years.
There we go. It's exciting. Next on my agenda, I wanted to provide the board with an update on the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District project. And again, I'm really profoundly proud to announce that on their consent agenda, last Thursday, March 17th, 2016, item number 17, and I'm going to read it into the record. This was submitted by David St. Pierre, Executive Director. Issue a purchase order and enter into an agreement with Burns & McDonnell Engineering Company, Inc. for professional engineering services for contract 14-252 3F, final design for a flood control project on Navy Creek in Midlothian and Oak Forest in an amount not to exceed $933,267.33. This was approved by the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District Board, and what this means is that the final design will occur. I have to thank everybody who's been involved in this, Helen and her entire group, Center for Neighborhood Technology, the Army Corps of Engineers. It was just a mammoth project to get it to this point. So it was approved. I was asked, or I went and I speaked in front of their board. The Midlothian contingent that was there in support of this were very warmly greeted by the board president and Commissioner Deborah Shore. And it was an honor to be there. It was an honor to address their board and thank them for this. Afterwards, we spoke to the engineers, and this project will take 370 days, and they hope to have the shovel in the ground in June of 2017. That will be an $8.3 million project paid for by the Metropolitan Water District of Greater Chicago. So I think that this is huge for Midlothian, and as I said at the meeting, it's really a game changer for this area, for Midlothian and for Oak Forest. I just want everybody to be aware of the progress, and I have talked to Joe Kratzer too about acquiring the pins, and I was in contact with Attorney Brett Denslin again about acquiring the pins that they need for the project. So, progress. Who would have thought a year ago?
And it would have never happened without Blood Wolf. There's no
I
way it would
agree.
have ever happened without Blood Wolf. It's not possible. We were told for years this could never happen, and they helped us, they helped it. They were the main component of getting this done. Without them, we would have never got it done.
And Trustee LaRue joined us at the meeting. I want to thank him, and Superintendent Sperry, and I think Chris Parker was here. Yes, Chris was down there, Helen, Vita, Kathy joined us. Jackie Hill was there. It was a large group, and we were very, very, very warmly received. And I do thank Allison for my email yesterday. So huge project in progress for the Village of Midlothian. And we even got some of the engineers to smile, which I thought was a huge plus. That was a huge plus, getting the engineers on this project to smile. Veterans Committee met on Monday evening. We do have our parade on June 25th. I would ask if the papers could put a plug in there. Let them know. We will be stepping off on grills at 11 a.m. and they can go to the village website for information or contact a member of the Veterans Committee if they want information or forms. I brought this up at committee last week, but I wanted to bring it up at the board meeting because I believe it's that important. And again, we were nominated, thanks to Jeff Koza pointing out this award. And Center for Neighborhood Technology, our great friends, wrote the application. And Rain Ready Midlothian was the recipient of the Illinois Association of Floodplain and Stormwater Managers 2016 Public Education and Outreach Project Award. And the award reads, in recognition of your positive contribution to the engineering profession, this project provides an example of excellence in public education and outreach in Illinois. We accepted this award in front of 600 engineers and water professionals, and Jeff accepted the award with us when we went on stage with representatives from the Center for Neighborhood Technology and the Army Corps of Engineers. A great honor. It's pretty awesome, Jeff, wasn't it?
It was really cool.
It was, in front of all those 600 people to be recognized. So again, I'm just really proud of all of the work that's going on, and this is a huge award. And I don't want to break it. I don't want to break it, but Midlothian did it again. We approved the Complete Streets policy. We have the Natalie Creek Trail Steering Committee meeting scheduled at 10 a.m. tomorrow, which becomes even more important as this project moves forward. And the last update that I have is at an enterprise zone meeting that we hosted here at Midlothian Village Hall yesterday morning at 11. And I did send everybody, I believe on March 9th, the map. The enterprise zone, again, for those of you who don't know, huge economic development benefits. We are part of the CalSag enterprise zone. The enterprise zone, this particular enterprise zone can be no larger than 15 square miles. We are doing it once. We can take properties in or out of the enterprise zone. Country Club Hills is annexing in a very large property for this development, so they want to bring this into the enterprise zone. So if you have any changes, I need them by Friday. I've not received any changes from anybody. I've looked at the map a number of times, and I think any of our commercial areas that could either be developed or redeveloped are included. But I do need to get any changes to Chris Poshek at South Suburban Mayors and Managers by Friday. And what will happen, we will have to, all of the communities will have to adopt a new ordinance because of the change in these properties. And they only want to do it once. That's why they want any changes that anybody has. So, I don't know. That check?
You told her we got reimbursed for that.
Oh, okay, I'll tell everybody about that. But anyway, this was on the enterprise zone. Anybody, comments, questions?
Did Ricky Rocket, did Rick Hyde or anybody put in an application for the,
We gave them the information, I haven't heard if they have or not.
they have?
I sent the form to Mr. Hyder's representative and to the attorney for a drive time.
You benefited them with it.
Yeah, and they can't really pull, and they said to me yesterday, no one from Midlothian has submitted anything yet. They have from Country Club Hills, they have from Blue Island, there's action going on in the new enterprise
It's
zone.
too late, if they already bought the building materials, it's too late to apply.
It's too late, correct. It's too late.
We supplied them with the information.
Huge, and this is huge. And trustee Killalee just gave me a check for $5,779.91. This is through the Illinois Housing and Development Authority grant that we have for the demolitions. We've been lucky enough to have the Cook County Sheriff do the demolitions at no cost. This reimburses our expenses, the asbestos testing, asbestos abatement, and the dumpsters. So, and I have actually 2 other houses that the building department has identified that I'm beginning to work on for demolition, okay? So, Maggie, I will make a copy of this and give it to you, and that is all I have this evening.
Trustee Ivan.
Thank you, Mayor. I met with the beautification committee last week, and discussion came up about the village cleanup day in regards to its date. It's for the 21st, which is also the same day as CPC's golf outing. And so the beautification committee was wondering if it was possible to change the village cleanup date to the 14th.
I usually coordinate this through Superintendent Sperry. Joe, do you have any feeling on that? Can you check the schedule and see if we can move it to the 14th?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I'll notify the beautification committee that we're looking into it. So I'd like to make a motion to get approval for the resolution to authorize the use of MFT funds to pay for the 20 streets to be resurfaced for BLR 09111.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Ivan? Aye. Trustee LaRue?
Aye.
Trustee Gillis?
Aye.
Trustee Killalee?
Aye.
Trustee Kreis?
Aye.
Trustee Maskell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And I'd like to make the motion for the approval of the agreement authorizing the use of MFT funds to pay for the preliminary construction and engineering services for the 20 streets to be resurfaced. BLR 05512.
Have a motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Kreis?
Aye.
Trustee Gillis?
Aye.
Trustee Killalee?
Aye.
Trustee LaRue?
Aye.
Trustee Maskell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
That concludes my business then.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Gillis.
Yes, a copy of February Health Department report and the Building Department final fuel report was given to everybody, but it will be up on the next consent agenda, I believe, for the next board meeting. I apologize for not getting everyone that sooner. I thought it was already taken care of. We're still in the stages of approving applications. I believe there's 7 pending new businesses that have applied for applications. Those are still in the works. We do have one scheduled for tomorrow, final inspection for a value zone furniture store that's going in where Fisher Furniture was on 144th and Pulaski. So I don't anticipate any problems with that. Hopefully they will be open, if not just the end of this week, by next week. So, I gave some information to the board last week about a residential flood mitigation program that I was working on. I have more material. I'd like to continue that, but I want to make sure that we keep that up and running so that it can be hopefully someday passed where we can have a program in place for residents to use for a 50/50 reimbursement if funds do become available for a overhead sewer and backflow prevention program. And I believe that is all I have.
Trustee LaRue.
Yes, ma'am. Last week we discussed the ordinance to dispose of our oldest fire engine. Let me get the number here. The 1988 Pierce fire engine. We are new fire engine will be coming soon, probably June, and Chief Hoffmeister feels that we can let go of this one sooner than later, since we already have a buyer, and he's doing a good price of $12,000 for it, and it'll go to serve a very needy part of Ecuador. So I make a motion that we approve the ordinance authorizing disposal of personal property owned by the village of Midlothian, the 1988 years for fire engine.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We spoke last week at committee about the repairs that Brandon Communication believes needs to be done to our outdoor warning sirens. There's 2 boxes, we have 2 total, there's boxes on each one that house batteries, UPSs, some expensive stuff, and they're getting in pretty bad shape. I showed you guys the pictures. So we have a quote here from Brandon Communication to do all the repairs they feel is necessary in the amount of $1,994. I make a motion that we approve this quotation.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
This past Sunday, we had our annual Easter egg hunt, and it was a huge success, I believe, in my opinion. We had well over 150 kids and countless families. Officer Barber showed up with K9 Eco, and a fire department showed up as well. It was a great event, and I'm guessing that we'll probably have to move it to a bigger facility next year to get so many people.
Bigger, bigger.
And way too many people to thank. If I start naming names, I'll forget, and I'll piss someone off. So I'll look at you that I know that are here that donated. But a really big thanks to the Neighborhood Watch group that put so much time and effort into putting it together, organizing it, getting the donations, stuffing the eggs, and so many people helped out. It was a good time, so I look forward to it next year. And lastly, I gotta say this, on behalf, at least on my behalf, Helen, Dina, Kathy, everyone else with Midlothian, I apologize. I can't, it really bothers me that you guys get treated this way. The work you guys done, the money, the millions of dollars you brought to the community to finally tackle flooding, it's disgraceful. Sorry.
Thank you.
But the successes really outweigh the negatives. They do. Just one success after another.
Trustee Killily?
Okay, we have some things that the office would like, and I'm going to ask for their approval. And the first thing I'd like to ask for is the purchase of a currency counter, not to exceed $257.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and now I'm going to look like a sort of crazy here, but I'm going to ask Treasurer Britton on a proposal for the additional computers and cash registers, because I do have 2 different stories here. Are we approving equipment for three terminals, 3 workstations, or 2? Because this one that we see here today is for 3.
I have not seen that one. We did talk about having 3 terminals.
Okay.
Of course, we were going to prevail upon Public Works and at one point to configure the counter so that we could have 3 terminals and better serve the residents, and more efficient.
That's what you recommend.
That is what we're recommending, correct.
All right. So we are going to have, instead of 1 workstation, we're going to have 3 workstations to better serve our residents. And also to make better accountability for for our employees, because basically having different people in one cash drawer causes issues as far as balancing, and I understand you had quite a little thing the other day, which was a mess. So we're going, 3 workstations will definitely alleviate that. And also you're going to get a printer in the back for yourself, and I believe for building that they can use. Is that right? No, I'm sorry, that's that is a workstation printer for receipts.
For receipts.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Although you might ask that for that in the future, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So that's everything with the 3 cash drawers, the 3 computers, 3 barcode readers, a cash receipt printer, will not exceed $2,814. I'd like to ask for approval for that.
I'll second that too.
Motion is second, any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Killily?
Aye.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Gillis?
Aye.
Trustee Kreis?
Aye.
Trustee LaRue?
Aye.
Trustee Maskell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'd like to ask for approval of 4 credit card terminals. We have 2 credit card terminals right now, and I'm not sure, how it's going to work out with 3 different workstations, but should we table
I
this?
believe we're gonna have 2 credit card terminals at each workstation. We're gonna get
So in
4,
other
we
words,
have
we
2,
need
so
6. We need 6.
because each credit card terminal, some of them don't take certain
We
credit
have one
cards.
for
We have-
water and one for everything
Correct,
else.
correct.
Now, okay, so.
I thought this was 4 additional.
Right, so it'd be 2 at each workstation.
So it'll be
total
6.
Be 6.
You already have
So
You already have 2.
Okay, but 2 is old technology.
So we're
We have to
upgrading.
we have to, with the new V-chip terminals, we have to change those, otherwise if there's a bad card, we will get the charge back. In the old days, when we were up to snuff, then the credit card company would accept the charge back. Now, if we don't change the terminals, which are already behind on that, this should have been done before, so we have basically 6 new V-chip terminals. Now, we may be able to cut that down if we change to another credit card processor, PSN, but we're in the process of evaluating that to see if we can get away with that. If that's the case, then we would only need 3 terminals, because PSN is our provider for the water right now. So it's as complicated as you can get. So basically, instead of $1,400, we're looking for $2,100. I'm sorry.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed 2,100. Can I amend that request, please?
I'll second that.
Hopefully less.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Trustee Killily?
Aye.
Trustee Maskell?
Aye.
Trustee Gillis?
Aye.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Kreis?
Aye.
Trustee LaRue?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. I'd like to ask for approval to purchase a new paper folder insert machine. The police department's machine is shot, and the one up in the picture is darn near. This is going to be able to handle both police and administration. It also allows for the possibility of putting our water bills in envelopes. And right now, it costs 11 cents per form to send these out, and this would save a lot of money. And also, we can put other communication in this, especially at the newsletter. Save us a lot of money there, and maybe write a collect some money too. So this is going to be added a tremendous amount of efficiency to our village. The first year is covered for our maintenance agreement, but the second year we'll have to purchase a maintenance agreement, and every year thereafter. So this will cover the first year, which is free, and after that we'll have to approve the maintenance agreement for the folder insert. This is with Impact. Impact has proven to be very service-oriented with our printers, so we feel good about this purchase also. So I'd like to move that we spend $8,674.10 on a new folder insert.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Trustee Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And I'm very pleased, along with Ms. Britton and Mayor Ryback, to motion to move the approval of the 2015-2016 budget.
Have a motion?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Roll call or discussion?
Can we get the budget done before the end of this year?
With Ms. Britton, I got no. It's very, I would think, she's getting up to snuff right now, and we're very, I think once we get this done, she'll have this done ASAP.
And it'll probably be more accurate next year.
And Maggie, I know you've done a lot of cleanup on the data, so thank you for your work.
And thank you for answering all our questions. Kathy, you're not the only one who's had questions, we have as well.
Yeah, but did all yours get answered?
Yes.
Okay, good for you.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And lastly, I believe all the trustees' desks, they got a spreadsheet of the receivables comparing this to this year in February. And it looked positive from what I saw. It was late where they got this done. It looked like it was good. It looks like it's a good format to me. If anybody has any suggestions, let me know. But of course, one-month comparison doesn't give us enough data, and over time, we'll know more data we have every month. But our objective is to have a comparison about this time every month, so we can see where we're going. But it looks good, and I like the format. I let Maureen know that, and I like the idea of how many people we have on the payment plan. I think that helps us a lot on knowing where we are with this whole issue. Trustees?
You said we're gonna try and run this at the same time?
Same time, so we'll have apples to apples instead of apples to tomatoes. So, that's all I have.
So we'll get this every month.
Every month,
That'll be helpful.
yes, with the comparison.
Trustee Maskell?
Yes, I invite the mayor. The first, each of the trustees, I believe, before last week's committee meeting, got a copy of the ordinance authorizing disposal of personal property owned by the village of Midlothian. This is related to a seized vehicle and the police department, a 2003 Jaguar S-Type. So I would make a motion that we adopt this ordinance.
Have a motion?
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Motion carried.
The second item I have also regarding ordinance to amend chapter 15, title 7 of the village code. This is related to the overweight vehicle ordinance. And we've been talking about this for a while. I want to thank Lieutenant Ryan and the police department and several officers who also worked with them to bring this to our attention and make some revisions, and to Attorney Gleason for incorporating them all into something that fits for the local. So I would like to move that we adopt this ordinance.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carried.
That's all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you. Go on to department heads. Chief Kaufman?
Yes, Mayor. Just one thing, just an update on where we are with Happy Days business. They're closed down. Most of you are aware from my email I sent you. There was an arrest made there with undercover agent. We've made purchase of synthetic drugs out of the business. They're foreclosing down, and there will be a hearing held Monday. See what we're going to do with their business license at that time. So that's all we have until Monday. But they are closed right now at this time.
Chief, they'll be closed until Monday at least.
Yes. That's all I have.
Okay. Chief Otweiler?
The only thing I have here is, we still have smoke detectors at the fire department. If any residents are in need of them, you can get up to 2 per household. They're free, it's for a grant they across. We have people daily coming in and getting them. They're good for 10 years, so pass it along. If anybody needs them, we still have them. They come see Julie anytime during 9 to 5. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Superintendent Sperry?
Brian's pickup is going to be starting April 4th in the northeast section of town, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Engineer Koza?
A few things. The water tower bid opening is tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Currently working on a review of the drive time plan submittal. I just finished up the review on Richie Rockets, the second review. And we're working with Superintendent Sperry and the water main contractor for the Cicero Avenue work, trying to make sure our plans, which are 4 years old at this point, are updated to make sure that the water main we put in the ground is compatible with those two developments. So doing some tweaks on that. And I'm working on the resurfacing project design, specifically the green infrastructure component, doing some evaluation of potential sites for parkway gardens, rain gardens, and other green infrastructure that we can implement. So we have a lot going on. We should have a lot going on this summer. So looking forward to it. That's all. Thank you.
Treasurer Burton?
Nothing.
Under my business, I'd be looking for an approval of the special use permit for the Merlin's muffler shop, for a muffler shop to go in there and operate.
I think I am going to need to make a motion to table this. I thought, and board, I thought the decision was made that as a condition of this, we wanted a phase 1 conducted as part of the EPA grant.
You don't think, you know. That's exactly what the whole board agreed last week, that that would be condition of the special use, that they would get.
It's not in here. And I did send an email to the clerk last evening.
I have a motion to table it then, and then we'll redo it for the next meeting.
I'll second it.
Got a table and a second. Roll call.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Masco.
Aye.
Motion carried to table.
Trustees, at this time, I provided you all last week with William D. Simone's resume, and after many interviews and trying to get people to apply and find the best fit for the village of Midlothian, I would like to make the appointment of William D. Simone to be superintendent of the building department with your approval.
You need a motion? We would need a motion for the board to approve the hire, correct?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee Gillis.
I don't have a dollar figure yet.
He will be starting at $65,000. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead with the roll call.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Masco.
Aye.
Motion carried.
At this time, Billy, I'd like you to meet the board and welcome aboard.
Hey.
William D. Simone, he goes by the name of Billy.
Billy. How are you, sir? Very nice to meet you.
Well, working with you.
Nice to meet you, sir. Thank you very much.
Robin.
Sure. Nice to meet you. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Welcome. Thank you, sir. What have you did the last few years?
You don't have to stay if you don't want to either.
No, thank you.
And is all I have at this time. Clerk Olsted?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay, I'd be looking for a motion to go to closed session pending litigation and the possible sale of village-owned property
I will make a motion.
I'll second.
at 8:09. Roll call.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killingsworth. Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue. Aye. Motion carried.